This movie's been around for 47 years. That is the official hillbilly song, and it's permeated into our brains for those who watch the movie.
Well, you got to wonder how many of the hill people, how much they appreciate that song, because maybe it's like synonymous with buggering. It's possible.
Oh,
It could be.
It
Steve,
could be.
we better start the show.
Yeah. On that note.
All right. Yes. We're already talking like we're in the show.
Yeah.
Primarily Critical.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Primarily Critical of Movies and an After Party. This would be it.
If you have not seen this film, we suggest that you do so before listening any further, my friends.
Because we have spoilers, trivia, and opinions like crazy.
Good, bad, new, old, weird, or gross.
We pass judgment on them all.
Today, a bunch of buggering lily dippers romp in the woods. Do you know what a lily dipper is?
No.
What is that, Steve?
What's a lily dipper?
I'll tell you right after I introduce myself. I'm Steve. I'm here with
Phil.
John.
All right. Today we're covering Deliverance.
Oh, yeah.
This is my pick. This is my pick. And Lily Dipper is it is a canoeing insult.
Mm.
A lily dipper is somebody that puts his paddle in the water but doesn't contribute to pushing the canoe forward.
Okay. I might have heard that before. Steve, wow, that's deep.
I've canoed with lily dippers.
Well, I think if anyone's canoed before, you probably have experienced lily dipper.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah. That's some deep trivia and deep.
That comes from my canoeing background.
Oh, okay, guys. On the offset, Steve, this is your pick.
Yeah.
I consider this movie a classic. I really enjoyed this movie, and on the outset, this is the ultimate canoe movie that turns into the ultimate shit disaster movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Do I have thoughts?
Yeah. Do I have thoughts?
I mean, let's start with the song. Why don't we start with the song?
Sure.
Let's start because that's when the movie kind of starts with the song. I mean, that's kind of
right. It does.
It does. Yeah.
And this song. I don't know if you guys noticed. What's it? It's called. There's a name for this song.
Dueling Banjos.
Dueling Banjos.
Thank you. Yes. Now, you guys, did you notice the song is kind of playing on and off throughout almost the whole movie?
It's the whole movie. Yeah.
I mean, there is some other music, but minimally. For the most part, they just kind of, variations, slower versions of it throughout the movie. But yeah, it's
the backbone of the movie essentially. It's kind of like, and
I would go as far to say that this movie made banjo music famous.
Popular.
Oh, yeah.
Mainstream.
Yeah.
And you're right. This is the only movie I could ever think of that where the banjo is prominent and it's like front and center. It's like,
yeah.
But there's a lot more to the movie than the banjo.
No, but we've got to think about the history of this, right? There's been so much lore over the years and stuff where we've all heard that inbreds picking banjo, right?
Sure.
I've heard of this.
Yes, of course we've heard of this, right? Did that concept come from this movie? Or is there something that predates
beyond that?
Movie?
In movie history, I hear what you're saying.
In popular culture, is there something that goes to you for this that's
because
inbreds with banjo playing?
Maybe you got a point there, John. You do have a point there.
I don't know
because
I don't know my banjo history well enough to say.
Yes, to your point, John. This movie is probably our first exposure to hillbillies. And what's the life about,
Yeah, in popular culture, this is 1972. This is probably the first. This is how hillbillies hit, the American home. And our concept and our understanding of what hillbillies are is probably all the stereotypes, all that stuff probably was born from this.
Wait. I'm gonna
A
IMDb.
lot of them.
I'm gonna IMDb Beverly Hillbillies just to see if it comes after this movie.
Oh, because that's a good point, Steve.
Yeah,
Beverly
good point.
Hillbillies. But that was comedy, right? This is a very serious movie. It's like a slice of life, a real life guys going on a guys getaway weekend, right?
All right, so the Beverly Hillbillies ran from 1962 to 1971.
Ooh. Okay, so then. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah,
they predate though.
It predates, but there's nothing in the Beverly Hillbillies about them screwing, raping other men. You know? No.
That's
Oh
true.
well, okay, Steve. You want to go there yet? You know that's the
Well, yeah, it's
elephant in the
pretty
room.
prominent in the movie. You know,
that is, we're gonna tackle that.
We're gonna get into it and probably from many different angles. So
we're gonna come at it from different angles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, we shouldn't laugh about this because it's a serious part of the movie.
I mean, we could take. That's the thing. We can laugh about it, but then there is the serious stuff. So
you know what? I'll be complete honesty. I don't remember watching the whole movie as a kid, but I think the version of this movie I've seen is the edited version that was made for TV, right?
Oh, okay.
And so upon watching the movie on this review for this show, I saw the theater cut as far as I know, and wow, it's nothing to laugh about. That rape scene is brutal, and I think what a lot of people, they're like, it's nervous laughter when they see that scene because it's difficult. It's the first time men had to be confronted with the fact that men can be raped or sexually assaulted.
Yes.
And it's very difficult. Guys, thoughts?
Oh God, I got so many thoughts about this. I mean, I think, you're right. That's tough, and it's not like after this movie, even with the great success of this movie, that people really wanted to tackle it again. You know, it's very taboo. And no one really wants to, and the discussions are difficult. I mean, I think, John Voight's character, what was he, Ed or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, Ed, we see that he's there tied up. He has to look away because I think any guy would. I mean, you're not going to sit there and watch your friend get raped like that.
Right.
It's almost intolerable. It's unthinkable for males who we all pride ourselves in our masculinity, so to speak. It's being stripped out of your good buddy. He's right over there. It's being totally stripped away.
Helpless
right?
to do anything about it.
How can you watch your buddy be demasculated in such a way and bear witness to it? But he did bear witness to it, and I think, this goes like there. I don't know if we want to go all the way into it, but I mean, there's.
Well, he did.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's very obvious that when he says, well, I guess I won't be seeing you for a while. What I think is all guys.
Oh, at the end of the movie? Yeah.
Yeah. I
Ned
think
Beatty's character.
you never see that man again. I mean, males, we don't communicate that stuff. And that's something that a friendship is just, it's too much to handle.
Really?
Well, do you want to see the guy that was bore witness to you being?
I don't know.
Do you feel like hanging out with him?
I think
one witness that saw that happen to you.
Yeah, but there's more to the movie than just the rape scene. Is the cover up of a self-defense murder? It's not murders in my mind. Those guys didn't murder those guys. It was self-defense. It was defense.
Absolutely.
And so, but they concoct a plan where Ned Beatty's character. Was he Billy in his character's name? Where he says at the end of the movie, I'll probably not see you again. And then at the end of the movie, they show them at dinner together, right? And they're sharing a family dinner. So they do see each other again, but they kind of like, they don't address it and they don't talk about what happened to them. But you see John Voight's character, Ed, crying at dinner because it's traumatic. He finally feels it after all that. He feels all the emotions, right?
My take on that is that when he looked over, he knew because Bobby there, he could tell that Bobby was not ready to acknowledge everything that's gone on.
Oh, he would never will.
They exchanged a glance, and it was kind of like Bobby's like trying to pretend everything's fine here. Like, what's the and I think John Voight's character Ed realized that that's the end of their friendship. Like, this is over. Bobby's never going to look at this, and this is too big. This is too big for us to handle, And so that's, to me, that's why he broke down crying, is that he's like, he knew this is too big for them to handle. Their friendship's over. It's
Really? You guys are reading a lot more into this than I did.
Steve, there's so much to unpack. There's so much to unpack in this movie, in my mind.
Okay, let me just say right off the hop that no, I didn't read into this movie very deeply. Maybe I should have, maybe I didn't, but I was just looking at it from the surface. I didn't fully invest into the characters, and I enjoyed it. I liked this movie, right? And maybe there is a lot more to unpack, and I would like you to continue speaking.
Well, this is your first watch, right?
It's my first watch.
And my first watch, I liked it too. I thought, holy cow, that was crazy, And I thought, what a good movie, right? But I've watched it many times now, and
Did you see the edited version, or have you seen the full cut? Like,
I rented it on Google.
Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe what I saw was the TV version. Anyways, that's not here or there. You know what?
There was some very graphic facial shots during the raping. I think I got the full effect. If that's what you're asking.
Okay, yeah, I guess we've talked about the rape scene. There's a lot more to unpack about the movie. So, I mean, let's talk about when the guys first get to the river, and we know that this river is going to be flooded. It's going to become a lake.
Yeah.
We got the alpha male guy, Burt Reynolds' character, Lewis. He's like, he just forges ahead. He kind of pisses off the hillbillies.
A little bit.
Yeah. They don't really know what they're in for. And what strikes me, like, they do the canoe trip. They make it successfully, have a good time, and then the rape scene comes. It's like up to that point, we're having a good time canoe trip movie.
Well, okay. We get the impression that Lewis likes to go on these adventures, right?
Yes.
And we also get the impression that Ed kind of like tags along.
Yeah, he wants to be more like Lewis.
He wants to be a bit more like Lewis, living on the edge, but he's a family man. So, I mean, there's a certain amount of shookage of responsibility. And then Bobby and Drew are kind of added on seemingly
as friends, as I understand it.
Yeah,
they're Ed's friends, or they're an afterthought.
They don't really get into the details of their backstory. They're just guys that work at a business office from Atlanta. They're the big city boys coming to the hillbilly country, and they're the fish out of water in that scenario.
Well, I think all four of them, in my memory, limited as it is, they work for the company that's going to flood that land.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have inside knowledge that this is going to happen.
Oh.
And this is the last time they will ever have an opportunity. They were going to be the last people to ever ride the river, right?
Yeah, because off the very top of the movie, they have narration over top of it, and they're talking about this trip.
Yeah.
And they're gonna. Yeah. Good point. So we have the rape scene. There's the pacing of that scene where they look. I guess it's Ed's character. Well, he sees the other guys in the canoe. They're docking. Yeah. They have no idea. And the tension's big. We're like, what's going to happen? Are they going to kill them after the rape scene? And then, bang, Burt Reynolds' character, Lewis, puts an arrow through that guy's chest. And
we see him in the background.
Wow.
We see him in the background. He's got his arrows.
And that was shocking. Like, just, whoa. Woo, okay, and then the other hillbilly takes off. So now what do you do? What would you do in that situation, guys?
Well, I
What?
think you fly by the seat of your pants. You got. I mean, this is these situations where we can all speculate, but we really don't know.
Yeah. And he
Uh,
grabbed the gun. I think that was a solid plan. He grabbed the
absolutely.
gun.
Which is interesting is that if you want to pick at the movie a bit, is that then he's following them down river and he has a gun again.
Yeah.
So you could say
Well,
that maybe
Well,
he ran back home and came out again.
or maybe he had two guns.
So,
One
so,
stash
so we
something like that.
we're talking about the hillbilly that fled the scene. He didn't have a he had his shotgun still.
No, he fled the scene without his gun because Ed had pulled it away from him.
Okay, so we're left with the like to me, I love how they work the scene where the dead guy is still in the scene. His last breath is happening, and then like they discuss, what are you gonna do here, guys? Like, they analyze the situation, and I love that they make a
Yeah.
plan, they make a pact, and would you go that course as a group of friends?
Well, here's
You?
the thing. I had this discussion, and you have this is, in their circumstance, I would definitely dump the body, bury the body, and try to get away with it because in the United States, the way it is, they're exactly right. Is that you be facing a courthouse in the jurisdiction where the crime was committed? You'd be facing probably a jury of people from the locals. You're not gonna. These guys are dead out of the water. There, they're not. They're not going to get it. The risk of not getting a fair trial there is really like yeah, it's low. You're not going to get a fair trial there, and so you weigh all that stuff. Given what they were dealing with, yeah, you would have to. In Canada, I don't care where I am, I'm going to the authorities because I don't feel like that's a situation we have to deal with.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think justice, unfortunately, and especially in that time, we're going back in the 70s here.
We're talking 47 years ago.
Yeah, 47 years ago. Absolutely, Justice America was skewed in that aspect. They would have been fucked. So they had to do that.
So they made, in your opinion, they made the right choice. Steve, what do you think?
Right choice, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, at the time they were making that decision, all four of them were still alive. And so all they needed to do was stick to the same story and leave. Now the situation did shift dramatically when Drew died. Drew died, now they have a lot of the questions to answer when they get back home. But at that time, they made the right decision. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow, I love the writing and the pacing of this movie. I love how they handled that. Like, that's logically speaking, that's how I think I would have handled it with a group of guys. Let's think about this. If we three and some other guy went on a trip, this happened to us, I think that's how we would logically handle it. We try to think it through, and I love how they dealt with it. But then we know that Drew, he gets shot, he falls off the canoe. We lose the alpha male, Lewis, right? And he gets a leg injury.
He gets a leg injury, yeah.
And he's useless at that point. So Ed has to become the alpha male and the hero.
Yeah. And he has kind of like what we might in the industry call an arc, right? Where he's like he can't shoot that deer, remember?
Yeah.
He can't,
foreshadowing, right.
He's like
Good
shaking
point,
and he just can't put his head around killing something, right?
He doesn't have the stuff. Foreshadowing.
Well, that brings me to the weird scene. This is a scene that I brings up question. Is that he climbs up the rock, and he's exhausted from just climbing up the rock. This is after. Okay, so just to bring the context, they've gone down. They wrecked in the waterfall. One canoe crashed to the other canoe. Drew's dies. They end up at the bottom of this waterfall. They don't know where Drew is. There's three of them now. They know someone shot Drew, so now they're scared and they're hiding. And they know that up this cliff face, they're theorizing that he was shot from up this cliff face.
Yeah.
So Ed decides he's got to go up there. He goes up there. He's exhausted from the climb. Well, he's up there and he's somewhat injured. He's been through a big accident and all this, and so he's now sitting there. He falls asleep. Wakes up. this whole scene is a little confusing to me. Somehow Ed gets an arrow. Now, are we to assume he did actually successfully shoot the guy, right? He did actually get an arrow through the guy, but the way the video was shot, the filming was shot, that wasn't clear initially.
No, but that was the point.
You're not sure whether he got shot,
Yeah.
and you see the guy stumbling towards him, right?
Yeah, you think that the hillbilly has got the shotgun, he's gonna blow him away, but he's like on his last death, he's like last gasp of life, because you learn he got the shot off, the arrow did actually hit him.
Yeah.
Right.
It turns sideways, and you can see
so it's a suspense thing. It's I hear what you're saying.
How does Ed end up with the arrow in him? He falls on
he falls on the arrow somehow. You'd have to watch that again. It's a clunky.
I did, because I've seen this before, and I'm like, every time I see that, it's like, how does that arrow end up in Ed? And they don't really.
It's
show that, you know?
John. It's a clunky edited action scene.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
And can I? Well, I'm sure we'll talk about this in trivia later, but there's some funky things going on with the night coloring and stuff at that scene.
Yeah.
And to your point, Ed climbs up this cliff and he gets to the top. Isn't that like exposing yourself to the worst part? You're like at the mercy of anybody. Just kick your head.
It's true. To me, that was not a logical, tactical.
It's not. You couldn't walk around. You couldn't find your way around this whole thing.
There's a term called flanking in the Army.
Flanking.
Means, you got to come up to the side so they're not looking for you. He did not flank.
No, listen.
Dead center. You know.
Right.
There was when you do the unexpected, that's when you gain the advantage.
Okay,
Steve. I think they just had to come up with just get it done.
How does Ed know that the hillbilly isn't just sitting there right at the top, sitting on a chair or sitting on a rock with his gun?
Right.
And Ed pokes up the top of the cliff. Yeah. He goes.
You wouldn't even have to shoot him.
If his plan was to go up there and kill the hillbilly, then I think he did the right thing.
Well, that's all.
But I mean, my plan wouldn't have been okay. Let's kill somebody, right? But
let's not get too worked up about that. It's a cool movie. Let's move on from that. So okay. They kill all the guys. To me, Drew's death, they finally find his body. To me, when I was a kid and I saw that scene where his arm is twisted over his head like that, do you see what I'm talking about?
Oh,
that is so disturbing. I just can't. It's like, can you imagine seeing your buddy like twisted like that, hanging off the?
Man. It'd be horrible. You know, that'd be
yeah, exactly. And it like through this movie, they just go through hell. That group of guys, hell. They go through hell.
Yeah.
And you feel for them, man.
Yeah. They have a rough time of it for sure.
And don't you root for them? Because at the end of the movie, they have to tell this lies to the sheriff, right?
Police, yeah.
And you're like, God, I hope they pull it off. I hope they don't get caught. It's so compelling and nail biting, right? Like,
well, it is. I mean, after everything they went through. To have to lie to the police about it just seems like such an injustice, you know?
Right up to the end, he has to pull over Ned Betty's character, Billy. He holds him up and say, "What did you tell them? What did you tell them?" It's like, and that scene. Sorry, Steve. I just get this out. When Ed's talking to Lewis and he's winks. Lewis winks back at. And it's like, wow.
I don't remember anything.
Yeah. Oh man. Good stuff.
Well, you know, you hear one of the deputies say that his brother is hunting in the woods. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah, I did.
One of the deputies says his brother's hunting in the woods, and that's most likely the rapist, right? And so I thought going into this movie that there was going to be some off the beaten path yokels living on government land, and they were the bad guys, right? Or they were the the inbred weirdos that were gonna rape our heroes, right? But it wasn't that. It was these guys. These guys were from town. They were upstanding members of the community.
So it's weird. Like they're just roaming rapists that hunt for people to rape along the.
Well,
like,
okay.
It was a happy accident.
Happy. I don't know.
I don't know if you guys have looked into it, but farmers, people that farm and deal with livestock.
Yeah.
Okay. If you look into bestiality statistics, my parents had this thing. It was called. It was way back from like the 80s. They had this textbook that said something abnormal psychology.
Right.
And so my brother and I used to have fun looking at this and looking at stuff. We'd flip this thing open and read weird stuff, right?
Right.
One of the things with bestiality was in there. So we're reading this and we're having fun reading it, and we found out that it's like 90, like it's I don't know, I want to quote the exact number, but it's like so far the vast majority of all bestiality occurs with people that care for livestock. So you go, okay, so it's farmers, whatever, people that are raising livestock, they end up screwing their livestock, right? But you think about this, these guys, maybe they don't get to see a woman ever, their sister, their mother, maybe, but
yeah.
So they might be used to, because
they don't have the opportunities.
Okay.
They don't have the opportunities, and they said squeal like a pig. It's kind of like, well, obviously they screwed pigs before, right?
Okay. All right. Yeah. Wow. That's an insight. That's you might. Yeah.
Why would you say that?
Okay.
Well,
okay. Here.
We don't want to assume anything, right? Maybe
Okay. We gotta kind of get moving along. We're already 30 minutes into this.
Oh yeah, we're 35 minutes in.
I gotta quickly say this weird scene after they kill the last hillbilly, and Ed's character goes up to him and he touches his face and he pulls his teeth down. Do you remember that scene? What was up with that?
He was trying to identify to make sure
he was what?
It was the guy, like, because if you remember the rape scene, the guy had no middle teeth.
Yeah.
Right now he shoots this guy, kills this guy. And he goes, "Oh my God, this guy has teeth. I killed the wrong guy." Right?
Okay.
But then he goes up and goes, "Oh, it is the right guy. He just, for whatever reason, he didn't have his teeth in back at the rape scene."
John,
thank you. After.
So he went back to camp to get his teeth and the other gun.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, John. Awesome. We got to get into trivia here.
Getting into trivia. Okay. So.
Sure.
Burt Reynolds, my man, Burt Reynolds, broke his coccyx, which is his tailbone, while going down the rapids when his canoe capsized. Originally, a cloth dummy was used, but it looked too fake, like a dummy going down a waterfall. And while Reynolds recovered, he asked, "How did it look?" And the director, John Borman, replied, "Like a dummy going down a waterfall," or going over a waterfall, which is hilarious, unless your ass is broken.
Wow.
Because his ass was broken. Remember? Yes.
So
yeah.
Steve, John, there's a lot of trivia. There's a lot of stuff. This movie is 47 years old. Yeah. As I understand it, the actors, they actually canoed down that river.
I made a point to look. There was a couple spots where I saw a double.
There are doubles, but
there was doubles, yeah. And I'm trying to think of them now, but I remember specifically seeing a double in one spot. But yeah, absolutely, I could tell they had their faces going right through those rapids, where you could tell absolutely on that canoe, and they're absolutely going through that rapid right now.
I'll say this much: they sped up the footage a couple times. They made it look more exciting or more intense. But holy crap, like that looks so dangerous. Like I can't believe in that time, 47 years ago, they just free fall. They just balls out, man.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
That's some crazy canoe shit, man.
I've run rapids with canoes, and there was nothing there that. Well, no, there was a couple spots where there were bigger rapids than I've ever been on a
Really?
canoe.
That didn't look dicey to you? I don't
It didn't
know.
look horrific. It didn't look horrific.
All
But, I
right.
mean, you definitely have to know what you're doing. You know, and you have to be
Yeah.
prepared to.
Okay.
You all have to be prepared to capsize. That's just.
All right.
You know, it
Yeah.
can happen. It's happened to me.
I'll take.
I've never gone through anything very, very serious, but I am a licensed canoeist. I have a license
What?
and everything. Yeah.
A
What?
license?
What does that
Yeah.
mean?
I wish I
I've
had.
been canoeing for my whole life. I don't have a license. How does that happen?
What?
Well,
okay,
How do
explain.
you get a license?
Yeah, throw that out there like you're James Bond or something.
No, it's not
Ah,
like a
geez,
license to
what?
kill. Jesus. Okay. Anyway, so my dad was a band teacher. Okay, he was a junior high band teacher. He was also a canoeing enthusiast, and and somewhere along his career, he was asked to join a canoe trip that was being organized with the students and teachers, and he did that every year for a few years, and then the guy in charge left, and they wanted to keep doing it, so he ended up doing it. And in the beginning, he didn't have any license or any requirements at all. But as the years ticked by, they started saying, okay, you need first aid. Okay, you need this license. Oh, you need this license. And we need you to be certified in that, this, that, and the other thing. You need to know how to use an EpiPen. And anyway, just the rules stacked as the years went on. And eventually he stopped doing it. But I did go along with him on more than one of his trips. And in order for me to do that, I needed to be a licensed canoeist. And I will try my very best to dig out my license and actually show it to you guys.
Interesting.
Or maybe it's just...
That's so cool, man. I don't know. Jeez, man.
Maybe it's just the certificate, or I don't know.
Who knew?
Wow.
That's some
Interesting.
deep.
Yeah, I don't think it's
stuff.
Guys, back to the movie.
Back to the movie.
The new licenses.
No, we got all the time in the world now.
Okay, I'll take the next one.
Okay.
All right. To minimize costs, the production wasn't insured, and the actors did their own stunts. John Voight climbed that fucking cliff. Wow.
That's so
I heard
funny.
This is notorious thing about this movie, right? That they didn't insure the characters, and all that we just talked about, how they went canoeing down those rapids.
Yeah.
Oh man, what a lawsuit!
To me, this speaks a lot of the evolution of movie making, right? When you go back to '72. This is what it meant to be an actor. You know, I mean, it was you took bigger risks. You know, you could depending depending
on who you're working with. Yeah.
Exactly. But this would never happen in this day and age.
No,
never happen. We have actors the caliber of John Voight and Burt Reynolds at that time.
Well,
there's no way these guys would be putting themselves in that kind of danger.
Well, here's the thing. You'd never put your principal actors in harm's way because you could ruin the production. Yeah. Like, how desperate were they to pull this off to get authenticity? And then the whole thing with John Voight's character, Ed, climbing that cliff, and that was without a safety line, anything. Wow, that's crazy.
I'm sure he had some kind of safety.
I don't know. They keep saying.
All right, here's hoping anyway.
Anyways, I did see, like I think John mentioned, I saw stunt doubles here and there. I mean, but what a awesome end product. Like even though they didn't insure them, and they, the ultimate result was a very entertaining movie. Action-wise, right? Yeah. So.
Craziness. Okay. Well, much of the film had to have its color desaturated because the river looked too pretty.
I've heard of this
concept, right?
Yeah, what a weird concept. This movie is too pretty. We need to ugly it up.
Yeah.
They did this
stunning.
They did the same thing for a movie called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? They did that. They took out all the color because they wanted it to
Oh,
be
brother, where art thou?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And
love that one.
it was supposed to be the dirty 30s, right? And so they wanted everything
Yeah,
to be dusty and
yeah,
gray, right?
yeah,
So they took out a bunch
yeah.
of color.
So during the scenes where Ed's climbing the cliffs, it's supposed to be nighttime, and they desaturate. They make it look like night, but it's totally obvious. It's terribly altered,
It was horrible. It was horrible.
and it really. That is one point in the movie where it took me out of the reality of it, and just like, what the
Yes,
fuck was this? Couldn't you
totally.
shoot at night? Couldn't
I
you
totally
do this?
agree.
You
Yeah.
went to the effort to make your actors like go down a canoe and climb a cliff without insurance and any safety measures, and then
But
you
they
cheap
probably
out
were
on the
dealing with,
fucking cliff
like, they're
nighttime
probably
scene.
out there, literally out there in the wilderness, and they're probably dealing with things like aperture and film. You know what I mean? Like, so lighting and aperture and filming and all that stuff. It's a science. Is a difficult one, right? It's not
Oh,
like today where and maybe I don't know. There was a moment where I thought, is that a green screen? Like
it's bad.
it did look
It's
at
the
points so fake, like, and that could just be
yeah.
the saturation, the gamma
I don't
corrections.
know
I don't
that
know.
I don't
But
know why that got green lighted, but anyways, it's what it
yeah,
is.
it is
Yeah,
what it is. I mean, it's a '70s film, '72. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
there's yeah. I
I
mean,
think
but
they
that
did
yeah.
magic with it. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a solid film, right, guys? It's a
mm,
solid
Oh
main
yeah. Oh
film.
yeah. It's a very solid movie. All
So,
right.
who gets the last trivia?
I usually
Not easy.
do it unless you guys want to. Um,
uh,
the rape scene was originally scripted, consisting mainly of swearing. The "squeal like a pig" phrase was an attempt to clean it up for the television broadcast viewing. John Borman liked the cleaner version better because I don't know, maybe it had a bit more uh,
impact.
je ne sais quoi. Um, uh, and he instead uses that for the film. So that was the clean version.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I guess
But that,
if you just start, guys, they'd be swearing at him, and he's maybe you might feel forced, right? But this guy,
well, and you run a risk if you have all the swearing and stuff like that. You run the risk of taking people out of reality, right? Whereas this seemed very real. It seemed very real because, like, yeah, the odd swear and anger and freaking out would be acceptable in that situation. But if it's too foul language, it's too, you could kind of see that as like a tactic. This did not seem tactical. It seemed like might how this might go down.
Yeah.
You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah. If you're sick enough to do that, then you might be
yeah.
sick enough to actually have some
Yeah.
really weird things to say like that.
I think
Yeah.
we can all agree that scene, that rape scene, is one of the most iconically disturbing scenes in movie history.
Absolutely, yeah.
And sadly, a lot of people take that scene out of context and they laugh at that, squeal like a pig, like it's funny. But if they
Yeah.
saw the movie and they put it together with the scene and they understood what that scene was about, it's not funny. And it's
Not funny, no.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
becoming like a catchphrase or cultural thing, like like anything in movies, like life is a box of chocolates, squeal like
but
a
there's
pig.
such a
It's
thing
like,
as called comedy relief, right? And so
I guess.
people see something traumatizing, and I get the thing, like laughing about squeal like a pig, because it's not fun to sit in the real energy of what happened there, and so if you got to pack it away in some drawer where it's sometimes easier just to make a laugh about it, or and add that maybe to the drawer, or not, but just it's a very I don't know, it's I can see why people want to bring some humor to it, just to give that comment.
Well, laughter is a coping mechanism.
It is.
Yeah,
At least for me, it is, and
it's a defense mechanism, and if you don't know, you're ignorant to the real truth of the matter, you just kind of laugh because you don't know.
Yeah.
So, hey, well, I mean, but what a amazing movie, 47
Yeah.
years ago. Like,
I know. I could bring up more. I mean, I think we've run long, so maybe I shouldn't bring this up, but I'll throw it out there and you guys can just kibosh if you don't like it. But how do you feel about, is this, because it's a male rape, there's so many movies out there of females getting raped, right? And people talk about this movie as somehow epic because it's a male rape. Is that somehow taking away from, like, should it not be epic because it's, oh, a man gets raped and suddenly it's such a great movie, yet there's movies all the time of women getting raped and they're kind of like, whatever, that's just commonplace. Is that worth a discussion, or is that something we should not even touch?
I think it's an important movie because men need to know that
it can happen to you.
Yeah, it can happen to you, and it really is evil, and that's 47 years ago. Like, wow,
controversial now.
It's amazing.
Never mind 47 years ago, right?
Guys, I thought about this. Okay, picture this: a remake of this movie, but let's put the women in the main cast. The 4 men are now women. Pick whoever you want for the cast.
Yeah.
Flip the thing. And the hunters are women. I mean, there's a lot of ways you can spin this.
Lesbian rape.
But what I'm saying is sexual assault is sexual assault across the board.
Sure.
But we don't see it the same way in cinema. We always see, like you said, it's always a woman getting raped. So let's flip that on its head. Do a remake. Have the balls to do a remake and make it a woman cast. Because everybody's remaking everything these days.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a Deliverance
remake? Then you'd
remake?
have controversial discussion.
Because wow. Let's do it. Let's do it again.
I mean,
let's have another movie. Because there's so many young people. This is our generation. This was Gen X or, even before us. Like, now a lot of people have not seen this movie.
This was a boomers movie, really. I mean,
right?
Yeah.
It scared the bejesus out of those people.
Now, wait.
Okay,
this I don't mean to say that what I have to say is more important than what you have to say. I'm just saying I don't necessarily think this is a great movie because of the rape.
No. Okay.
No, right? it's a good movie on a lot of other fronts.
Yeah, I think it is it's a solid
standalone side of the
adventure. Suspense.
But if you didn't have the rape, let's be honest here. Without the rape scene, this movie would not have stood the test of time.
Right.
No.
Oh no! It would not.
It would just be a canoe movie.
Yeah, it would just be a canoe movie. It might be a good canoe movie.
Yeah.
But
yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. What's that movie where it has Forrest Whitaker in it, and there's a transgender person.
The Crying Game.
The Crying Game. Yeah, if the Crying Game wouldn't have been the Crying Game if you didn't have that dick in there.
That's right.
That's right.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Crying Game, Phil?
I don't recall seeing it. No, I'm aware of the movie.
Yeah, you do. It's this is unforgettable movie.
Yeah.
There's a reveal. Spoiler.
Yes. Okay. To answer your question, John. There is a certain amount of women are stereotypically considered the weaker sex, and stereotypically you would see the weaker sex being preyed upon. And this movie shows you that this can happen to you too, and that might have blasted a little bit louder in the ears of the public.
Yeah.
I don't think it deserves more attention. I just think maybe any attention at all is probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, and it's rare, right? I mean, because it's so sadly, it is commonplace to see women raped in movies, right?
Yeah.
And so this is going to stand out just because of that rare factor. It's that we don't really talk about it. It's not really discussed. It's very rare. It's not commonplace. So yeah, it is going to stand out for that alone. That's not to take away from that women are getting raped all the time in movies, and that it shouldn't be commonplace. And I certainly I just want to put that out there. Is that this? We're not saying this is a great movie just because, oh my God, a man got raped. This movie's important, right?
Yeah.
That's not the statement that's going on here, right?
No,
I mean,
no, I don't know that. This movie is a well-made movie. But yes, the rape scene is what people talk about, and yeah, I mean,
I never even thought about the fact that there was no women in the movie.
hardly. It's devoid. There are some sad.
Yeah.
There's one woman where you see her.
Yeah.
He looks through the window, and there's an old grandmother. She's got like all kinds of melanomas on her face, and
We
met Ed's wife too.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about the whole sad scenes at the beginning of the movie. They have that dueling banjo thing with which is fun. But then you see the sad thing where you see the inbred deformed kid in that one scene. And wow, it just strikes a tone right off the top of the movie that this is not like your big city anymore. This is the backwoods. And
I mean, that's not necessarily a backwoods America. That's like old England. That's like that's all over, man.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And any isolated community is going to experience that. And it's sad. It's sad.
So I gotta mention the guy, the banjo player kid. He's still alive, and he's apparently he's living and working at Walmart out in Georgia.
Shut up, really?
And
the guy that played him.
Yeah, he's still going, and he's known for that movie, of course. But
did he actually play the banjo in that movie?
No,
I don't think so.
Here's a fun fact. I had read a lot about this movie. They had to get a guy to sneak his arm up behind him and play the fretting parts.
Really?
And so it's a hybrid of him and someone that's behind him. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And wow, it's an iconic scene, right? The whole banjo dueling thing. So he's still alive. He's like in his late 50s, working at Walmart, and he has a few credits to his name on IMDb. So look him up. I think we have his credits on the. What's his name? We gotta. Let me find out here. We gotta give him credit because man, to me,
Lonnie, maybe Lottie.
Billy Redden.
Yeah.
Billy Redden. Looney. His name's named Looney in the movie.
Lonnie.
To me,
Lonnie. Lonnie.
Yeah. So to me, that movie is so in my mind is him.
Oh yeah.
Like Deliverance, him.
Yeah. He should be on the cover of the movie.
Yeah. I think so. But the movie was billed with Burt Reynolds and John Voight as like the stars. But yeah, he should have been the star. Anyways, John left us.
It's okay. It's okay. We were already talking about my dad before, but he's my dad's playing banjo in a band, and I've been trying to remember the name of the band for the past couple minutes, but I can't remember the name of it. But I went to his cabin recently, and he had his guitar out, but it only had 4 strings on it. I'm like, what the hell, Dad? You're a band teacher. You should have 4 strings on your guitar. He had it strung up and tuned as he has his banjo. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
that's how he practices that at the cabin. So
your dad is super cool.
Yeah. I was like, oh, of course, right?
Hey, gotta get your practice in.
You gotta get your practice in, right? So.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
I guess is that Deliverance, gentlemen?
I think so.
Man, nice.
I mean, this is one of those movies we probably could talk for 5 more hours about.
Yeah, we could talk forever. Yeah,
totally.
That was awesome.
I think we covered the major stuff here, so yeah.
All right. And have you guys been noticing that I'm publishing our podcast differently? Like I'm publishing the first 2 minutes on Twitter and the first minute on Instagram, and I'm posting in its entirety on Facebook.
I have not noticed this. I'm sorry. I listen to our podcast through Podcast Addict, which I get from the feed. So
right.
Well, I have methods. Yeah.
Instead of publishing it as a podcast and on YouTube and then sharing the links, I'm actually taking a bit of the podcast itself, and sometimes it's whole thing, and I'm publishing it. I'm publishing it everywhere I can.
Cool, man.
Yeah. I just want to try and make it as easy as possible for you, the listener, to join us.
That's right.
Yeah.
Phil's gone to the sky.
Have you noticed I'm flying, John, Steve?
That's great.
Apparently, I'm boring Phil.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm enjoying myself right now.
Yeah.
Steve, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And I follow you all the way to the end.
Oh, see. Yeah, that's nice.
Are we recording this? That's cool.
We're not done the Deliverance yet. We should maybe finish up and then have some more talk about.
I think we did. We did. We gotta cast us off.
Did we? Did we say that?
Next week, Monday at noon. We're covering probably 12 Angry Men. Well, yeah, because I mean, we have this plan in place where we're going to cover 12 Angry Men, but I haven't recorded it yet, so I can't say for absolute certain that that's what's going to happen. I don't know if you remember, but I kept promising that we were going to do the movie 42 or 43 or whatever. Remember? And then we kept promising to do it, and then we didn't.
And it never happened.
Movie 43?
Movie 43.
That movie's a classic. It's a must watch.
Technical problems. We had a lot of technical problems.
That was a shit movie.
Hey, stop everything you're doing and watch that movie right now.
Well, shit, literally. I think there was a whole episode.
There's plenty of shitting going on in that movie.
Yeah. Anyway, next week, Monday at noon, we'll probably do 12 Angry Men, and it'll probably be with Christian and Greg, and I can't wait to talk about it. I'm here with Phil and John, and as always, I'm having a blast with these guys, and I'm gonna have a hell of a time editing around Phil's backgrounds, and I just have a great day. That's all there is to say about that.
All right, bye-bye, folks.